Look, you've seen the best of the best dominate the game, each with their own playstyles, some aggressive, some passive. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why do we all play so differently? The competitive community likes to simplify things, putting players into categories, aggressive and passive, to make comparisons easier. But in doing so, we often overlook something far more important. There is one skill that is so vital yet easily ignored. Something that dictates every move, every block, every dodge. You might not even realize you rely on it more than anything else. And the craziest part, it applies to every character, every combo, every block and every dashes you use. This forgotten skill is the foundation of high-level play. If you can master it, you're already leagues ahead of the competition. And that skill is reflex. I know, you probably weren't expecting that, but hear me out. Reflex is what allows us to play instinctively, cutting down on hesitation and making every move second nature. It's muscle memory at its peak. At the highest level of the strongest battlegrounds, 95% of the gameplay is dictated by reflex, with only a small fraction being conscious decision making. The more experienced a player is, the more their action becomes automatic. And the most critical reflex-driven action, blocking. Blocking is so deeply ingrained in top players that it's nearly impossible to predict when they'll do it, because even they don't think about it. So how do you break through a reflexive defense? How do you bypass something that is instinctive? That's where I come in. I want to help you destroy every reflex-based player with this technique, showing you exactly how I devour top players using the reflex killing technique. This technique I've created allows you to bypass the reflexive blocks and become so unpredictable that you lose the very meaning of unpredictability itself, transcending into a level of competitive play nobody has ever seen. Alright, let's break this down. Think about the last time you walked into a dark room. Your instincts immediately tell you where things should be, the chair, the table, the doorway. But what if, just for one day, someone slightly moved everything out of place? Your muscle memory would betray you. You'd reach for a switch that isn't there, stumble over a chair you thought was further away, and hesitate before moving. Your brain, so used to the familiar, would struggle to adapt fast enough. Now imagine applying the same displacement principle to combat in the strongest battlegrounds. If you start altering your movement and attack patterns in ways that disrupt what your opponent expects, their reflexes will fail them. Their instincts will hesitate, leaving them vulnerable. And we're going to make sure they never have time to adapt back. This is the phantom shift technique. Sounds cool, right? Yeah, I know. My naming skills are almost as good as my ability to obliterate high-ranked players. But let's get serious. Here's how you will implement it. Step 1. Analyze yourself. Record 5 minutes of your own gameplay. Pay attention to how you move, how you attack, and most importantly, how you dodge and block. Step 2. Disrupt your patterns. Take a close look at your gameplay and identify habits. Those automatic movements, attacks or dodges you keep doing without thinking. Now start breaking them. Instead of dashing left, dash right. Instead of attacking instantly after a block, delay it for a split second. Instead of side dashing at mid-range, do it earlier or later. If this feels too complicated, don't worry, there is a simple alternative. Just flip your playstyle. If you're usually aggressive, slow down and bait your opponent. If you're typically passive, turn up the pressure and force them into bad decisions. Even small disruptions like this will throw off their reflexes and give you the upper hand. Step 3. Exploit reflex gaps. For example, I noticed that I tend to side dash from the same direction most of the time. That's a reflex. So I shifted my timing and spacing, making it just unpredictable enough that my opponent's reflexes hesitated. The result? They missed their block and got punished hard. Another example, instead of relying on a predictable long-armed side dash, I switched to fast hook dash, cutting my movement distance but doubling my unpredictability and forcing my opponent to hesitate at the worst possible moment. Every top player operates on pattern recognition. Displays their expectations and you will break them. I know I just dropped a ton of knowledge on you, but don't worry, I've got even more. I've created a full training routine and step-by-step guide on mastering the reflex killing technique. Want it? All you need to do is get this video to 1000 likes and subscribe with notification on. The moment we hit that goal, I'll release the guide and you'll have everything you need to become unstoppable. So what are you waiting for? Go hit that like button and I'll see you in the next level of competitive play.